recap the three trades that I closed this week and how I ended the week with a $9 loss in realized losses overall. Hello everyone, my name is Evan and you're watching Heft Trade on YouTube. I appreciate you clicking on my video here. Let's get into the video and talk about these three trades, what I did well and what I didn't do so well, and how I plan to make progress moving forward in the rest of this year and in August. So on the screen here you can see the Discord, which I use as my trading journal. This is for the week of July 22nd to July 26th. I had two winners and one loser. The two winners I had were for Home Depot and for IBM, and the loser was for Meta. So let's go over to Thinkorswim and let's take a look at those three trades. And we can break down each of those trades that I took this week. So jumping over here to Thinkorswim, I talked about this trade in a different video, but if you look here, this is a trade that I took for Home Depot, and I noticed that the chart was moving up for about a 2-week period. At the top here, I managed to grab the very top of the move, and I grabbed the move as it was moving down. It broke the trend line here it broke the support line here at 370, and as you can see over here, there is a decent level of support on 3 different instances from the March time frame. And so I noticed this, and I had previously charted this area, and so when it broke over the first day, on the second day I came back to the trade and I noticed that the trade was just about to break through this 370 line. And with the 370 being a psychological number, a round number, it was an area of interest that I took note of, that I thought other sellers might be stepping in to sell at this position of Home Depot. With that and the confluence of the bearish divergence here, I decided that this would be a really great place to take a trade, and so I put on a broken wing butterfly at this area here. I sold the 370 calls. I bought one 375 call, and then I sold the 370. I bought the 380. And I bought the 365. So if you're not familiar with a broken wing butterfly, you can just quickly Google it. But essentially this was a short trade, and I did a short call broken wing butterfly. So if you're going to look that up on Google, that would be what you'd be looking up to figure out how this thing works. I'll make another video to talk about broken wing butterflies specifically and how you can trade those to your advantage and put those into your portfolio as a strategy to use. So, sorry, let's see, remove. So I managed to catch this move down, and at the bottom here, when it hit the 350 level, I was right around my profit target of 65% profit, because I like to set a 65% profit and a 100% loss. And so I made the 65% profit, and I took it off down here, knowing that this Fibonacci range was around the 50%. It had just broken this 50% and made it to the 38.2. And sorry about the multiple Fibonacci's going on over here, but I have several different Fibonacci's at several different time frames. But regardless, it had made it to this 50% Fibonacci and just broken through, and I figured it's time to take this off because, you know, it could reverse, or I'm already at 65%. No need to hold on to it any longer. There's not that much money left to make. And that was a good decision looking at it now, because, of course, 2 days of moving up in the market on Home Depot. It's still obviously below the 370, but there's no need to keep this trade on when you've made 65% and you only have 35% left to make. So that was for Home Depot. Let's now talk about the loser at Meta. And here we are with the Meta trade. And so I had taken a trade with Meta a few weeks ago, and I managed to get this move right here where there was a bounce off of the 38.2 Fibonacci, and it just rocketed higher. So I put a put credit spread on here around the 475 support level, because you can see back over here in about March there was some pretty strong support at 475. And Meta is quite a mover, so if you haven't traded it, it's a good stock to trade. It can move quite a bit in one day, so that can be really advantageous to put credit spreads. It can also be kind of a move against you if you put the trade on in the wrong spot. Well, what happened was I saw this trend line as being a big point of interest for Meta, and I used that as kind of my trade entry. I coupled the trend line with the oversold signal on the RSI, and I thought, maybe we're going to see another bounce off of this oversold area, with the 475 being the support below, and that never happened. It broke right through this. Didn't take more than a day, and in confluence, the market was moving down at the same time. So a lot of downward pressure happening. Meta was obviously a big driver in that downward move, and so it made it all the way down to this 460 area, where there was another support area down here. Well, I managed to hold it as it bounced up this way, but I was still red on the trade. So I wasn't going to close a trade that I was going to be still red on. And unfortunately, it just kept moving down. And as it broke through this support area, it ripped right through my stop loss, and I just had to close it because that's part of my rules. And that's just how it is. I managed to get out at about 109% loss, which was obviously more than the 100% loss that I rather take. But it's an annoying thing, but at the same time, it's just part of how things are and what you have to deal with. So had this rip through not happened, I would have probably been able to stay in the trade, and it would have still been red where it is today. But at the same time, who knows what's going to happen next week. Also looking at this trade now and seeing the RSI being massively oversold, and then on a weaker oversold. Looking forward here, if I were to have not taken the trade at the trend line, I would probably be looking at Meta now with a good risk reward, placing a put credit spread below this 450 area, with first of all 450 being a really strong psychological level, and secondly, we could probably get a decent put credit spread around 430 in the September expiration cycle, with that being over 50 days away. So, there is some bullish divergence situation going on here. You can see that the price is low, and it's even lower here, but the RSI is a little bit stronger on this side. So, thinking about taking another trade in Meta, well, I've already been cut once, so I'm not going to try keep pushing it. And the market is kind of in a funny situation stage right now, so I just decided to not to stay away from Meta just for a little bit, let it kind of figure out what it's doing, and then I might come back to it in the next couple weeks. We'll see what happens. Well, here we are. Let's conclude the video with a win on IBM, and we'll call it a weekend. Jumping over here to IBM, goodness, this would have been the winner of the week had I managed to hold on and stay in, but it is what it is. So, IBM, I saw this trend line, and I managed to get into the trade somewhere in the middle of July, around July 11, right around this area. And I saw these lows and these higher lows and higher lows, and I decided, you know what, this is what I need to get into. This is a good trade. So I managed to get in here around the July 11. And this trend line has been a champion. It's just held up this whole entire time. The Fibonacci levels have been a really big help, and I managed to capture this move as it broke the gap that's over here. Because if we go over to the daily time frame, on the daily you can see there's a big gap over here. And let me get a little bit more zoomed in, you can see there's a big gap right here, and what ended up happening was that gap ended up getting filled right here on IBM. And so I decided, because I won this trade, or because it was such a strong trade, instead of just closing the trade for, a 65% win, I rolled up on my put credit spread to try to get more credit out of it. And man, that was a good decision looking at it now, but unfortunately, I closed the trade before earnings, and that's just something you have to make the best choice out of. Is I didn't know what the earnings were going to result as, and I didn't want to be subject to a big loser breaking through this trend line and having poor earnings coming through. So I took it off with a smaller win than I normally take. But if I were to have just taken this off with my 65% winner, well, then I would have been green on the week, and we wouldn't be discussing a loss about this week. But it is what it is, and you got to learn from your mistakes and learn from the trades that you've made. And so this is where we are today, sitting at a $9 loss for the week. And you know what? It's funny to be a trader and to work for an entire week only to lose $9. And yet, what a job it is, and what a fun thing to do. I don't really know any other job where I have as much enjoyment in losing $9 as I would working some other job and getting paid to do it. Call me crazy, but it sounds a little odd. If this is the kind of content you're looking for, trying to find your way through trading, or wanting somebody to talk to, be happy to be that person to help you and converse with you. Give this video a like, subscribe down below. Evan from HefTrade. Have a great weekend.